So, in honor of Mindshare, I thought maybe the thing for me to do is just kind of share with you what's been on my mind. So I want to give a talk that I don't really ever give. It's very personal, and it's a narrative about kind of how I came to do what I do, and I'm hoping that we can find a way to relate in a really human way, because it hasn't been easy. I don't think life and activism ever really should be easy. I think we learn a lot from the challenges that we overcome. And I've been thinking a lot, I work full-time for Greenpeace. I run the Sustainable Seafood campaign work for Greenpeace in the United States. And as a professional activist, I do a lot of talking and telling and pointing and trying to get other people to change. And I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm wondering, well, if there's so many people here that care so much, and so many people that are doing what they think is right to make the world better, then why are we still in such terrible shape? Why are we losing this kind of stuff? Why is the ocean in so much trouble? So what I'd like to do tonight is kind of turn the concept of activism on its head. And this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I don't exactly know where it's going to take me. I don't know where it's going to end, but I can tell you exactly where it started. It started at 2 a.m. on Christmas Day in 2005 at 62.5 degrees south, just off the coast of the Baleines, near the very edge of the Antarctic ice shelf. I was standing on the top of a rusty old fishing trawler that had been converted into a conservation ship. I was wearing a survival suit that was poked full of holes and moth-eaten, and in my hand I had a smoke bomb that I could maybe throw across this room. But the problem was that bearing straight for the boat that I was on was what seemed to me at the time to be the largest thing I've ever seen in the world. It was the black hull of the world's only active whaling factory ship called the Nishin Maru. And it wasn't slowing down, and we weren't moving. And I looked to my left and right and realized that I was alone up on the deck, and that my smoke bomb wasn't gonna do jack shit. And it was in that moment that I realized I was about to die. And people say that when you're about to die, your life flashes before your eyes, and I don't know about that, but I can tell you that I had a few really strong images and thoughts that came into my mind. I thought about my parents, and I thought about some friends of mine that I missed and hadn't seen in a long time. I thought about a woman that I had never had the chance to tell that I loved her. And I thought about a question that I had been asked several months before I got on the ship, when I was doing an interview to join the society that I was working with. The interview went very well, and it ended in one question, and that question was, Casson, are you willing to die for the ocean? And at that point, I was 25, huh? I was full of bravado and just whatever. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. I was, that was my image. That's what all my friends told me that I was. I was the crazy guy that went and did this crazy stuff, and that's what I was all about. But maybe it wasn't true, because in that moment, that question came back to me, and I was like, wait a minute, what? Wait, no, hang on, no, I'm not willing to, no, God damn it, I'm not willing to die. Not right now, not like this. And something inside me broke. Now, needless to say, I didn't die, because I'm here right now. The whaling ship turned at the last minute, and we won that little game of nautical chicken and went on to fight another day. But I wasn't the same after that. I'd been put in a position where I was really forced to question my whole identity, who I was and what I was doing. And for the next several months, something was wrong with me. I was wandering from place to place. I couldn't hold down a job. I was unhappy all the time. I couldn't meet a woman to save my life. Oh my God, it was terrible. And I was radiating this negative energy because I wasn't at peace with who I was. I'd thought that I was something different, and this question kept echoing in my head, Casson, are you willing to die for the ocean? And one day I was wrestling with the same thing, and I was depressed, and decided to go and do what I always did when I was fretting and upset, worried about how the ocean was in so much trouble and how I wanted to do something about it, but I just didn't know how. And I went to dinner, and I went and had sushi. So let me say that again. I was worried that the ocean was in trouble, so I went and had sushi. Right. But it was one of the best things I ever did. Because when I was staring down at my plate, I started to realize, well, maybe it's not about me going out and telling people what to do. Maybe it's not about doing anything at all. Maybe it's more about listening to what's being told to me. Maybe it's more about being. And this sushi staring up at me, something that I'd always loved my whole life. And I got this idea. Maybe I'm not supposed to go out and do the change. Maybe I'm supposed to be the change. 2007 and 2008, I met up with a couple sushi chefs and we opened Tataki, the world's first sustainable sushi restaurant. The purpose of Tataki was to allow everybody to come in and by just doing what's natural for people to do to make the world a better place. When you think about it, not much has changed Earth more than our pursuit of food. Dinner is a very powerful thing. You think what we've done to the planet to enable ourselves to get food more easily. The fields that we've plowed, the forests that we've cut down, the boats that we've built to pillage the seas for fish and shellfish, all in the pursuit of feeding ourselves. It's not a bad thing, we have to eat, but why can't we use that drive to make the world better? So that's kind of what the concept was when we first opened the restaurant. And people thought we were crazy. I mean, really. We were serving all this stuff that nobody'd ever heard of. Just kind of breaking a whole lot of barriers that didn't make a lot of sense. But then we started to figure some things out. And people started to come and support us. We got more and more press. We were able to open another restaurant, and then another one. And then other folks around the country started getting interested in what we were doing and opening their own. In 2008, there was only one sustainable sushi restaurant in the world. Now they're at 11. And I'm hoping by the end of the year, there'll be about 16. Thank you. And the only reason that it makes sense is because at some point, we turned activism on its head. We started listening instead of talking. That we started being instead of doing. And it gave me a lot to think about. I mean, you see the world out there and it can be a really sick place. And it can be really sad. But we have to remember that we're an integral part of it. We and the world, there's no disconnect there. And maybe it's not necessary to go out and change the world. Maybe all that we need to do is change the way we live and change according to what's inside of us. Once the sushi enterprise was up and running, I got over my depression. I became a much happier person. Things started going right. The universe was on my side. It was amazing. Things just started working. And I don't know why, but I like to think that maybe sometimes if we listen instead of talk, and really listen honestly and follow the advice that we hear inside our heart, maybe the universe is going to take care of us a little bit more. So it brings me back to this question that used to torture me about Casson, are you willing to die for the ocean? Well, maybe the thing to do is turn it on its head. Ask not, are you willing to die for the ocean? Are you willing to live for it? Are you willing to make it part of how we go about our day-to-day? We don't need to go to Antarctica. We don't need to dedicate our lives and go on hunger strikes and do things like that to show how much we care. We just have to breathe in and out and be people that realize how connected we are with the ocean and be honest about it in everything we do. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all, but I really do have faith in people as a whole, and I really do think we're going to get there. And sometimes it just takes a little bit more listening and a little less talking. That's all I have to say. Thanks a lot.